a different nervous system. This child, even though they may want to please mom and dad and conform, actually can't because their nervous system becomes overwhelmed with emotion. So that failure to adapt then makes them the target for that parent. Essentially, this child is so upsetting to the self-concept of the parent that the parent will subconsciously turn against the child. They may say, "I love you" to this child and try to do loving things for them, but the truth of how they feel is not what they are presenting on the surface, and the truth comes out in all kinds of ways. Their only way of avoiding the shame they feel and the shame this child triggers in them will be to emotionally disown the child and deflect that shame onto the child, and that child then becomes the family scapegoat. It is to say, "I'm not bad, you're bad, and you are my problem, and now I'm the victim to you, and so is everyone else in the household." The family can then hide all of their dysfunction, respectively, all of their own shame, underneath the guise or the smokescreen of this one child in the household. They will then switch, and they will start to approach this child, this problem person in the family who's not really the problem, as if they're the one that needs to be fixed. And now they get to be the good guys because their whole life is about trying to fix this family problem. This is when most therapists see what's called the identified patient, which is just the scapegoat who has now been brought into therapy as the family issue. Nothing is actually wrong with this person. What is wrong with them is that everyone in the family has turned against them. But the other people in the house sure as hell can't see this. The experience of being turned against by the very people whom you need love from the very most is beyond describing. There is no way to deal with this situation in a way that actually benefits any member of this household. It is absolute torment. This makes it so this child has no way to feel safe. And that's the conditions that their own nervous system is in fact developing under. And a nervous system that develops under the constant feeling of being unsafe in a household develops differently. This child feels hated by their family, especially by the parent who is playing the main antagonist, the one whose self-concept is threatened the most by this child. This child is growing up with an antagonist, but an antagonist upon whom their life depends. And the way that they cope with this may help them in the short term, but completely destroys their life in the long term. A child who is put in this type of a position in life pushes themselves away. That's the natural reaction that we have when someone upon whom our life depends rejects so much about us. We push those parts of ourselves away. However, we can't actually physically do that, can we? No. So what happens when we push ourselves away is that our consciousness splits. To understand more about this concept, watch my video called Fragmentation, the World